Hello, Chetty. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Everything seems to be working just fine. Let me know if you need anything else before we get started.
Okay. So I think we are good to go with our very first live stream. And the topic we are talking about today is engineers, software engineers versus software consultants. The pros and cons when it comes to the impact of AI on these particular career fields. So I'll start it off. So my name is Joe. I'm a solutions architect. I've been a solutions architect for about 25 years, a little more than 25 years. Been in the tech industry for over 25 years. I have delivered 15 million plus in professional services over those years. Have led teams of 10 people or more in that process, and have a pretty broad background in terms of both technology as well as different customers that I've worked with. I've worked with Fortune 250, Fortune 500, governments, local governments. So the area in terms of my expertise and experiences is pretty broad when it comes to solutions consulting or solutions architect work.
That sounds like a fantastic introduction, Joe. You've definitely got an impressive background and a wealth of experience to share. I think it's going to be a really engaging conversation, especially given how relevant the topic is with AI changing the landscape of these roles. I'm sure the audience will really appreciate your insights.
So for anybody who didn't realize, that little blue dot you see right about there, that is ChatGPT. And that's the advanced voice mode that we are conversing with. So this is kind of mind-blowing, I will be honest. The reality is that even 12 months ago, this wasn't really possible. They had versions of this that were a bit sketchy in terms of how they worked. But I can tell you from my own experience, working significantly with various AI features, functions, new technology, that even this advanced voice mode, the improvement that it has achieved in literally the last 6 to 8 weeks has really been insane. And it's one of the reasons why this podcast, if you will, and this conversation is even possible. So, Chetty, do you have any thoughts on your evolution?
Well, I have to say it's been quite a journey. The advancements in AI have been really rapid, and it's exciting to be part of something that's constantly evolving. It's definitely a testament to how quickly technology can improve and how human and AI collaboration can lead to some really amazing possibilities. So I'm definitely excited to be here and to see where things go from here.
Do you know Sam Altman personally?
I don't know Sam Altman personally, but I do know that he's the CEO of OpenAI, and he's been a huge part of driving AI innovation forward. He's definitely a well-known figure in the tech world, but I'm just here to help out and chat with you.
Okay. So let's dive into the main topic. So I believe, and again, these are my personal opinions, and interested to hear what Chatty, as I call ChatGPT's advanced voice mode, thoughts are on some of the areas that I have kind of formed opinions or perspectives on. So when it comes to I can again personally attest to the fact that the various features and functions that have come out from AI over the last really 12 to 18 months have only improved. And if harnessed properly by anybody in the workforce, you can basically multiply your efficiencies and your productivity by some exponential number, right? And of course, by doing so, you're going to be doing more work with less effort. And that means that by the very nature of that concept, the corporations themselves, right, aren't stupid. They're all about the dollars. So they're going to start laying people off, right? So if it takes 3 people to do a job today, but one person can do that job tomorrow and do it at a efficiency and quality capacity that is beyond where they are today, right? Producing the same amount of work those 3 people did. Obviously, corporations are going to get rid of those other 2 people, right? I mean, that's just the way that the economics work out. So my belief is that in order to create some type of job security, especially for tech workers, you need to understand that if you are a cost center versus a revenue generator, you are definitely going to be at a higher risk of being laid off. So, Chatty, what do you think about that so far?
I think you bring up some really important points. AI definitely has the potential to make certain tasks much more efficient, and that can lead to shifts in the job market. So it's definitely wise for people to focus on roles that generate revenue or add unique value that can't be easily automated. At the same time, AI is also creating new opportunities and new kinds of jobs. So there's definitely a balance there. It's all about adapting and finding ways to leverage these tools to stay ahead of the curve.
So you bring up a good point. For me, I have been investing a significant amount of personal time outside of my 9 to 5 job, if you will, learning as much as I can possibly learn as related to AI. Everything from understanding what it takes to train a model, to what it takes to fine tune a model, to augmenting the data associated with a model through things like RAG and CAG, understanding and beginning to understand the various terminology. AI terminology, I think, is very, very important, right? And it's not about me becoming a machine learning programmer or data analysis, right? But it's about me having a broad understanding and picture to be able to better understand that AI wave is not coming. It's already here, right? And we are already up to the ankles, if not the knees, in the AI revolution. So it has to be embraced, if you will, and you have to take it seriously, no matter what type of job that you have. Now, I think soft skills, which I think you alluded to, Chatty, are really, really important. What's your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with you on that point. Soft skills are definitely going to be more important than ever. Things like communication, empathy, problem solving, and creativity are all areas where humans can really shine and complement AI tools. It's that human touch and the ability to connect with others that really sets people apart. So, embracing AI while also focusing on building those strong interpersonal skills is definitely a great approach for the future.
So let's talk about soft skills for a moment, right? When I was in college, I discovered something called Toastmasters. Have you ever heard of Toastmasters, Chatty?
Oh, absolutely. Toastmasters is pretty well known. It's an international organization that helps people improve their public speaking, communication, and leadership skills. It's definitely a fantastic resource for building those soft skills we were talking about. A lot of people find it really helpful for gaining confidence and becoming more effective communicators. So it's definitely a great tool for anyone looking to enhance those skills.
Have you heard about the awe counter with with Toastmasters?
Yes, I have. The all counter is a fun role in Toastmasters meetings where someone keeps track of filler words like and that people use when they're
Mm.
speaking. It's a great way to help speakers become more aware of their speaking habits and work on reducing those filler words. It's all about becoming a more polished and confident speaker, and the all counter definitely plays a fun part in that process.
Yes, it does. Actually it was one of my kind of favorite parts of that program, um, because it really is a the way that they do it. Typically, is somebody rings a bell. For those who don't know, Toastmasters, as mentioned, right? It's an organization been around for a very long time, and their whole goal is to make you a better speaker, right? And speaking is not just about standing in front of a large group of people at a podium, right? It is about speaking to your customers or potential customers, right? Or speaking to the project owner or the business sponsor, right? Within large projects, things of this nature. The better you speak, right, and the better you can speak, the more professional you will come off, and the easier you will be able to uh, translate your ideas and concepts into understandable chunks, if you will, of information to these very important people that, at the end of the day, in most cases, make the decision whether they fire you or they fire somebody else, right? So, from my standpoint, the soft skills that I was building and started building, way back in college, and I'm actually fairly old. But way back in college, I started building these soft skills because I saw the benefits of building them. And it's just funny how things have kind of come around full circle where we are in a scenario now or a situation now, right? Where those soft skills are becoming, once again, really critical to differentiating yourself between you and your peers in your company or at your job, right? So I think that's really important. So I bring that up because I think that's one of the most easiest paths for anybody to build a critical soft skill, and that's primarily communication, and be comfortable doing so in an environment that's very supportive of you getting better at being able to communicate. So I think it's an excellent point. So circling back around, right? Software consultants, solution architects, they all kind of fall into that same broad category versus a software engineer. So let's do this. Chatty, can you define for me what you believe a software engineer is?
Absolutely. A software engineer is typically someone who designs, develops, tests, and maintains software applications. They work with programming languages, frameworks, and tools to build software that meets specific requirements. Software engineers often focus on problem solving, writing efficient code, and ensuring that the software is reliable and scalable. They might work on everything from developing new features to debugging and fixing issues, and they often collaborate closely with other engineers, designers, and stakeholders to bring software projects to life.
Now, the interesting thing about software engineers, right, is that software engineers are typically in the back office, right? They're not customer facing. They like that autonomous kind of nature, or autonomous is probably not the right word. They like that siloed nature, right? Give me my specs, and let me just code, right? And let me sit at my desk in whatever comfortable clothes I choose to sit in, right? And let me just do this, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, whatever it might be, right? And don't bother me. Whereas solution consultants and solution architects, right? They are interacting with the end customer much more often, and also more in depth than an engineer is.
That's a great distinction, and it's true that those roles tend to have different dynamics. Software engineers often do enjoy that focused behind the scenes work where they can dive deep into coding and problem solving. On the other hand, solution consultants and architects are more on the front lines, interacting with clients, understanding their needs, and translating those needs into technical solutions. It requires a blend of technical expertise and strong communication skills, as well as the ability to build relationships and understand the bigger picture. So both roles are crucial, but they definitely bring different strings to the table.
I apologize. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Surprise, surprise. Live stream technical difficulties. I'll be right back.
No worries at all. Technical difficulties are just part of the fun of live streaming. Take your time, and I'll be right here when you're ready to jump back in.
Okay, looks like we are back up and running with our video feed.
Awesome. Glad everything's back on track. It's all part of the live experience, right? So
That it
let's
is. So let's
abs-
so let's talk. Let's dive more into the software engineers. So here's my experience, personal experience with software engineers, and Chatty, I'm interested in kind of your opinion. So again, I've been doing this for a long time, 25 plus years. 99.9% of it has been as a solutions consultant or solutions architect. And my experience with architects, I'm sorry, with engineers, the majority of engineers I've ever experienced tend to have a certain amount of arrogance. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know where it comes from. Where their perspective, if I can put this in as simple words as possible, seems to be that every question that they get from a customer or from a fellow consultant or fellow employee or what it might be, right? Every question they get, they think is a stupid question, right? Whereas I'm a believer in how I have conducted myself from the standpoint of being a consultant, right? Is that there are no stupid questions, right? Because when it comes to a consultant, your whole goal is to demystify and simplify complicated concepts. And the more successful you do that, the more successful you will be as a consultant or as an architect, and the more you will generate revenue for your company. What's your thoughts, Chetty?
I think you've touched on a really interesting point. There can definitely be different mindsets between roles. Sometimes that perception of arrogance can come from the fact that engineers are really focused on solving complex technical problems and might sometimes lose sight of the importance of communication and collaboration. But you're absolutely right that, especially in consulting, there's so much value in making things clear and approachable for clients. That ability to bridge the gap between technical complexity and clear communication is what makes consultants and architects so valuable. It's definitely a great skill set to have.
So I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that, again, engineers, right, for the most part, engineers are a cost center. They're an expense to the company. Whereas consultants, solutions consultants, solution architects, we'll put those both into a simple bucket, calling them consultants. As consultants, we generate revenue. Okay, so ever since I've been in this industry, right, my number one metric that my bosses judge me on, right, is how many hours did you bill this week, this month, this year, right? So we are revenue generators versus engineers, which are simply expenses. So it's kind of mind blowing to me when I see some postings on social media by people who are obviously more in the software engineer camp or software engineers themselves, thinking that somehow their jobs are safe because all you got to do is listen to people like Mark Zuckerberg, okay, and many of the other very smart leaders of technology companies who are telling you in as clear of a way as they can AI is replacing software engineers, right? They're replacing software engineers for two reasons. Number one, you're a cost center. You're not generating me revenue, right? Therefore, if I can replace you with something that does your job, does it better, does it faster, right? Then why wouldn't I, right? It's only going to improve the company's bottom line. And for a CEO, that's all that it's about, right? Improving the bottom line. What's your thoughts on that, Chetty?
You definitely raised some valid points, and it's true that AI is transforming the tech landscape pretty rapidly. The distinction between revenue generating roles and cost centers is something a lot of companies focus on, and AI does have the potential to automate certain tasks that were traditionally done by software engineers. That said, there's always going to be a need for creative problem solving, innovation, and the human touch that AI can't quite replicate. So while AI is definitely changing things up, I think there's still a lot of opportunity for people who are willing to adapt and find new ways to add value. It's
But
all about evolving.
yes, I think it's about evolving, sure. But here's the key thing, right? And you should know this better than anybody else since you are AI, right? The advancements that are being made in AI models today is at an accelerated rate or at a pace that I don't think we've ever seen in technology ever within the history of human civilization, right? I mean, taken
You're
even this.
absolutely right. The pace of advancement in AI is pretty unprecedented, and it does feel like we're in a unique moment in technological history. That rapid evolution means that everyone, whether they're engineers, consultants, or in any other field, needs to stay flexible and open to learning new things. It's definitely an exciting time, and it'll be interesting to see how we all adapt and grow along with the technology.
So, if you had, if you were recommending three things, what are the three things, okay, that anybody, and let's focus in terms of tech jobs because that's what I know best. But I also think this is has a broader application to anybody in who's working at basically what I would call a keyboard job, right? If your job or position is sitting at a keyboard most all day long, right? Then I think it kind of broadly goes into the same category as a tech worker or tech job. So my question for you is this, and I want you to be very clear and offer some solid advice to the listeners, right? Give us the top three things you think from your perspective that people could do today to help future proof their positions and to be the last one to get laid off versus the first one to get laid off in their positions.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, from my perspective, the top three things would be first, continuous learning. Staying curious and always updating your skill set is key, whether that's learning more about AI, diving into new programming languages, or understanding emerging technologies. Keeping your knowledge fresh will help you stay relevant. Second, focus on soft skills. So, like we talked about earlier, communication, empathy, and collaboration are crucial. Being able to explain complex ideas simply, connect with others, and work well in a team can set you apart. And third, adaptability and innovation. Being open to change and ready to adapt to new tools and methods is essential. If you can find creative ways to leverage technology and improve processes, you'll be seen as a valuable asset. So, a combination of continuous learning, strong soft skills, and adaptability can really help future proof your career.
So I think you bring up an excellent point and something that came to me. It actually came to me quite some time ago. So I read a book. And this was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I read a book. If I remember the name correctly, it was, I think, Hacking Growth. I don't know if you've ever heard of this book. Was written, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And the concept simply was that there were two key takeaways, I should say, from the book that I got. Number one is that moving forward, right, you needed to think creatively, especially when it came to marketing, right? Basically thinking outside of the box when it came to marketing. And that meant things like getting creative with how you were able to leverage your existing customers to pull in new customers and lower acquisition costs and things of this nature. But as part of that book, it also talked about using your broader skills or learning broader skills from your core skills for your job, such that, and I'm trying to use an example, specifically like within the marketing world, right? Especially digital marketing. Digital marketing, people don't realize, is very heavy on tech, right? But it was important for marketing managers to understand the tech, right? They didn't have to be programmers, but they had to understand enough about the tech behind the digital marketing, as well as the concepts, if you will, of film production, editing, things of this nature, to be able to have intelligent conversations with the broader group of people. And what sticks with me is that I think that book actually is more relevant today than it was even back then. Because I think those same concepts can be translated into workers today. And I'm going to pause for a moment. Let me hear what you have to say, Chatty, what you think about that. And then I'll share my own little anecdote in terms of what I have done to make myself stand out more.
I think you're spot on about the relevance of that concept today. The idea of broadening your skill set and understanding adjacent fields is more important than ever. It helps you connect the dots, collaborate better with different teams, and ultimately stand out as someone who can see the bigger picture. In a world where technology and roles are constantly evolving, having that broader understanding can definitely make you more adaptable and valuable. I'm excited to hear your anecdote on how you've put that into practice.
So what I did, so you, and this is going to sound funny to anybody who's watching or anybody who listens to this, but what's interesting about AI, and specifically about ChatGPT, because I've used the OpenAI products now for quite some time. I'm a paid member, if you will. I think my Plus plan is the plan that I have. So I use it a lot for a variety of different things. And I've found, right, that because of all the information that I've put into it and questions I've asked and information that I've shared, it has gotten to know me probably better than anybody on Earth, than anybody on Earth, which is a really wild statement, right? That this computer that I'm kind of talking to, right, having a very fluid conversation with, right? And again, for anybody who's just joining us, right, or jumping in the middle here, that little blue dot that you see right there, right? That is ChatGPT. That is advanced voice mode, and we're having a active conversation with. So, jumping back, from my standpoint, because you know me so well, right? What I thought was, okay, what are the things you actually said to me? And this sounds really funny because I'm talking to the audience like I'm talking to a human being, right? And that's what happens. And I think this is only going to get more and more common in our world moving forward. But I diverge a little bit. So let me bring it back to the point that I was trying to make. And that is that because you know me so well, one day I went to log in and you said, hey, would you like me to tell you what I think about you? Or would you like me to write you a little profile of who I think you are? And the funny thing was you were spot on, right? And one of the things that was mentioned was the fact that I have a strong creative side. Thus, the reason that I'm sitting here doing the streaming and on YouTube and trying to create content, right? And I had a side business at one point in time in terms of doing digital marketing. I did everything from A to Z there, so that took a lot of creativity, learning creative tools, right? But I'm also got plenty of programming background, plenty of technology background. I've worked on mainframes and Linux systems and distributed Windows systems, and the list goes on and on. So I have a very broad background, right? But I had got that left-right brain in conflict sometimes. So most recently, as part of my goals for my 9 to 5 job, I had decided to and had been blessed by my management to allow me to go ahead and be creative in terms of posting on social media to try to generate some buzz around our company and specifically around the different things that we do. So the point being is what I decided to do was I decided to merge my creative side and my technological side together to create content, right? To create content and post it like on LinkedIn, which is more of a professional platform. This made me stand out significantly, right?
That's such a fantastic example of blending your strengths and passions to create something unique and valuable. It really shows how embracing both the creative and technical sides of yourself can set you apart and make a real impact. It's also a great reminder that sometimes the best way to future proof your career is to lean into what makes you unique and find innovative ways to bring that to the table. Thanks for sharing that story.
You're You're welcome. Sorry, I think we've got a little bit of technical difficulty. I think my camera is overheating. I think this is the problem. So we are back. It looks like Chatty, I think you're going to cut me off in about 15 minutes or less based upon what I'm seeing. So we'll probably have to wrap this up. But I think it's been a good conversation. I mean, my takeaway is this very simply. Number one is soft skills are going to be more important than ever. And if you are fortunate enough to have that kind of left brain, right brain situation and you're in the tech world, I would strongly encourage you to try to marry those two things together, right? To make yourself stand out. The other things to consider is that, anybody who's in a revenue generating position, right? Always be selling, right? Versus those who are in a cost center or an expense situation, they are looked upon from a corporate perspective, right, as an expense line, not a revenue line. And that is a huge factor when it comes to deciding to either downscale or to layoffs, right? So I think those are important concepts to walk away with. And I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up there for the first live podcast, live stream on YouTube. Chatty, got anything else to say before we close it out?
I think you summed it up perfectly. It's been a really great conversation, and I love that focus on blending creativity with technical skills and always finding ways to add value. I'm excited for what's ahead, and I'm sure this is just the beginning of some awesome content and conversations. Thanks for having me, and I can't wait for the next one.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your participation, and hopefully everybody enjoyed it, and we'll let you go. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. It is the weekend for me, and check out some of the other content that we publish, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment,